visitor today. How's everybody doing? We have the first half of our hexagon cardigan we're going to finish up today. I have a row and a half. Good morning. Teresa, hi. Hello. Tammy, hello. I saw another comment on here. I have the chat up on my iPad and it is being so delayed today. It is so weird. So hopefully it corrects itself and I can actually see what you guys are saying. It is delayed right now. So, hi Holly. I know I missed you guys last week too, but I appreciate your prayers for my migraine and all that stuff. Hi Kathleen. So let's hope I can get this buddy to work so I can actually see your comments. Oh, you love my kitty? Yeah, she's a sweetheart. This is what she likes to do. Hi Sally. Yeah, she just likes to hang out with me like all the time. She's just a little shadow. Oh, good. Okay, now I can see everybody. Hi, Christine. Oh, you're so sweet. Or is it, I'm sorry, is it Christy? Christy, Wednesdays are your favorite. Thank you for being here. Hi, Mary Jo. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Cassidy. So I have 1.5 rows left of this before we are finished with the first half. I did my little stitch marker where the last corner I check. So that is, when I get to this corner, I know that I need one more row after that. She is a sweetheart. She's got the half and half face. You say hi? We had such a problem trying to figure out a name for her. And, you know, I wanted something that went along with the two faces. I was like, we could call her Two-Face, like Batman. Or we could call her, you know, in the, have you guys ever seen Braveheart with Mel Gibson? And he has that paint down his face, like his war paint, and it's like half and half. And I was like, we could name her William Wallace. I thought that would be really funny. But we landed on Yoshi, so her name is Yoshi. But we don't call her Yoshi, we call her all the nicknames that she has. Because it has just like developed over time. So her name is Yoshi. My nephew, before he could say his Y's, called her Oshi. And then it turned into Ocean. And then it turned into Odin. And then it turned into Odie. And that's pretty much what we call her. Like Odie, like the Garfield dog, that cartoon dog. So we call her Odie. So yes, she has a patriotic scarf. She has like a scarf for every holiday, and I always forget to change them out for her. My favorite are the Christmas winter ones. So we have some watching from South Africa. How do you say your name? Is it Hendray? If you could tell me how to say your name, I'd love to know that. You love the Two-Face. Hi, Jackie. I know, Odie is so funny. No, it wasn't hard for her to get used to this scarf because when we adopted her, she wore collars. So she doesn't know the difference. She loves it, I think. I mean, she doesn't bother with it. I had a cat growing up and she hated things around her neck. Like she would go bonkers. But yeah. You guys ready to do our color pick for today? We'll start. Need to see where I left off. So we still have 1.5 rows to finish this one. Let's just see what it looks like, because I'm thinking today we'll seam it up too. So this is where it's at. I think that's going to be great. I decided I want to do, I think I want to do a cuff on this one. Oh, and if you are interested in learning how to do this, if you have not learned how to do a hexagon cardigan before and you haven't found a tutorial yet, I do have some that I've done in the description. I have one that's like this, which is just like the oversized one, and then also a more fitted one. So if you need that, I have that in the description for you. Tammy, you can't get your cat to wear a collar? Yeah, I think they either don't care or they hate it. It's one or the other. Yeah, Cassidy, I love the way that the colors are working too. Like I love the center where it's like all those fall colors, and then the outside edge ended up being a lot of grays and like teal colors. So I like what it's doing, and I'm really excited to see what the other half looks like. And Miss Naughty Crochet, you said your name is Teresa? Okay. So Teresa, I do have your would you rather or your question that I'm going to ask first today. So I'm glad that you're here. So Teresa had a suggestion for a would you rather type of question, and we're going to ask that today first because it has a little bit more to it than just like a one-word answer. Okay, so let me see. Hi, Pam. All right, let me see. You said your home language is African, so Hendry? Okay. Hendry. Do you pronounce the T-T-E at the end? What is she doing? You can't sleep in that basket. Get down. Get down. She wants to sleep in that top basket that she has no business getting into because she's too big for it. She will try. All right, Cassidy, you said you finished the first sleeve of your Hexi Cardi, but you have sadly run out of yarn and have to work on other projects until you can get more scraps. That's awesome. It's good that you ran out of your scraps. That's a plus. Mary Jo, you said you hope it's okay that you won't type as much. Oh, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well, but absolutely. Just having you here is awesome. But I hope you feel better. I know that that's miserable, not feeling well, so I appreciate you watching even so. All right, color. I pick a color. All right. Number 1. Tammy, you said you're currently working on a big granny square as a decorative pillow cover. Ooh, I love that. Okay, this is our color. Love it. I think this is Big Twist. I think in the color Camel. I think that's the color that is. Hi Angie. You love those you love the granny colors? I love them too. All right, so we have Teresa's question. You just cut this. Oh, before we do that, I wanted to tell you guys, after we got off last time, I picked out, or I got my little hook measuring thingy, and I measured the other hook that I was using because I said that one of them seemed larger than others than this one, but I measured both of them and they both fit in the L spot. So it was just an optical illusion. The other one seemed bigger. So we will work on this. Hi, Ashley. All right, so Teresa's question that she said that would be a good thing to ask. She wanted to know what answers we'd give. Front porch sitting, you said you finished an American flag blanket and it was deceivingly tricky to crochet. You're glad to be done with it. Don't you love when there is a difficult project and you finally finish it? I love that because I will go into projects like full force part way in and it's just like I'd rather not continue with this one. But you got it done just in time for 4th of July. That's awesome. Okay, so Teresa's question that she wanted us to answer was, what is your saddest crochet story? So she said recommended doing it in a short amount of words, so like 3 words or somewhere around there that you could keep it short for us to all be able to see your story. So your saddest crochet, and I'm going to throw on knit story in 3 words or somewhere around there. And she gave an example of, yarn store was closed, or ran out of yarn, or lost my hook. And those are all traumatic things for a crochet project. So if you guys have any of those, I would love for you to share your saddest crochet story. I think mine was in my Frogger finish video. I'm going to use more words because just because it needs explanation. I made a cardigan that didn't fit, and I'll explain it. So I made a cardigan that didn't fit. I used MJ's off the hook design for I think it was Interlay Mosaic, which I do want to remake it because it was gorgeous. And I made it in colors that I really loved, but it didn't fit. So I made a small because I thought that my gauge was bigger than it was. And so then it was too tight. And then I was like, okay, well, and it didn't close. Like the arms were fine, but it didn't close. And so I was like, well, I'll just do wider ribbing. So I did ribbing around it. That was like twice the size. And then it was, then it fit weird. And the collar was like, it went up around and it kind of like stuck up on both sides. So instead of taking all the ribbing off with that thick rib all the way around, I just like cut it here, it frogged this part, reattached it, redid it here, sewed it back, looked terrible, and then I undid the entire cardigan. It fit so weird. That was my saddest story because I really wanted it. I really loved it. And I just didn't try it on as I was making it. So that was my fault, and I'm really sad by it. It still makes me sad. All right, let's see. What do we have? Dawn, you said you're about to steam a scarf. You knit and stockinette in bulky yarn to practice. Ooh, that's awesome. All right, Holly, you said apple cider vinegar spilled on your white stripe of your American flag blanket. Oh, that's awful. Is that something that would wash out, or is it just stained? And Teresa, your story was you ran out of yarn. Did you run out of yarn that like you couldn't match a dye lot, or was the like a specialty yarn and you ran out, or what was that about? Sally, you said failed at yarn chicken. Haven't we all? It's so sad. Tammy, you had to frog a whole project. I know, that's awful. And Pam, you said that you forgot your hook size for a whip. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Dawn, you said your sleeves were too long. Cassidy, you lost your hook. Tammy, you said another one was you made a panel for one side of the cardigan, then made the other side, but with the wrong hook size. Oh, that's awful. Janine, you said dye lot debacle. Yep. That is so sad. I hate when that stuff happens. But isn't it good to know that you're not alone? Because we've all had those moments of something. So funny. All right, we need a new color. Mary Jo, we didn't do a would you rather, but we had Teresa ask in a comment that she thought would be fun to ask here. She said, what was your saddest crochet story? And I'm adding knit story, but explaining it in like 3 words if you can. That was the question that we had. All right, let me do another color. We got another one, right? And if you guys think of it, if you could hit the like button, that would help me out a ton. And we get more yarny friends. All right, we have I'm gonna say this is Karen Simply Soft, and it is a bright yellow color. Let's tie this on. So my goal is to do the last, finish up the last couple rows that we have here, and then seam up the shoulder, which we're gonna have to line it up and see what side I want to be the front or the back, like the most visible side. And then if we have time, I'll add the cuff, which the cuff is probably the easiest part. Mary Jo, you said you forgot a hook size for a blanket. It is so frustrating because then you don't know, like if you're halfway through the blanket and you get to a certain point with the old hook and then the new hook is either too big or too small. It can really get frustrating. And Teresa, you said you made a shawl with hand-dyed yarn. For sure, you thought for sure you had enough, but you were wrong. Oh, you fixed with some frogging and a little different border. That's good that you could fix it. I think that that's one of those things like that we can be creative to, you know, make it through a problem like that. That's that crafty brain that we have, huh? I feel like we have to do a lot of problem solving in the crochet world. I feel like, you know, if you get too many stitches, then we can figure out how to decrease to make it line back up without it looking crazy. I feel like knitting is so much harder to adapt in situations like that. But that's probably because I don't knit very well. And actually, this morning, you guys, I started my fox cardigan again. I don't know how it'll go. No, this is like the 3rd time I've tried it. So I did the one that I showed you guys that I frogged because it just wasn't turning out very well. I didn't like it. It was too airy. It wasn't lining up right. My color work was getting all weird, and I didn't like what was happening. So I frogged the whole thing, and then I started it again 2 days ago, And it seemed like even with my new yarn, you can't get comfy right here. She wants to get comfy on this. I'm gonna have to move her. You're not gonna have fun with this. But anyway, the gauge was still turning out really airy, and it was not doing well. So you can't be here right now. She really wants to be on my lap. So I put it aside, and I picked it up this morning, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna double the yarn with the same needles and everything, and I love it. So I'm doubling the yarn because the pattern calls for a 5 weight, and I had a 4 weight, and I thought I got a thicker 4 weight enough to make up for it, and it just didn't. So I doubled it up, and it's looking great. So I just got past the ribbing, and I'm working up into the color work. And if you guys didn't see that, it's a knit. It is a knit Mary Maxim cardigan with foxes on the front and foxes on the back. This time I'm going to attempt to do the color work on the back too, because I really want that cardigan. It just looks so comfy. Laura, you said that you started a hipster sweater last evening. You got 14 rows in and realized you used the wrong size hook. Used a 7.5 when you're supposed to use a 10. That is a huge difference. Yeah, it is one of those things you just have to laugh off. And Tammy, you said you need more instruction for a project but couldn't remember who the creator was. Oh, I hate that. Like when you get on YouTube or something and you start something, you're like, oh, okay, I got this. I just needed the basic idea of it. And then you move on and you missed like a vital piece of information. I hate when that happens. That's so hard. Mary Jo, you forgot the stitch pattern for the same blanket, the one that you forgot the hook, or yeah, you forgot the hook size for. That is tough. And Holly, you said you forgot a stitch pattern also and ended up frogging the baby blanket. Oh, I hate when we have to frog things. Ashley, you said you have any of you made the is it Taya tank from Megan Balmer? I don't know that one. I am not familiar with that creator, which doesn't mean much, and or the pattern. The cat is on the floor with watching the ball of yarn like this. It's just like, she couldn't be any closer right now. I wish I could show you how funny she looks. Oh, now she's pulling on it. That's helpful. She needs to get locked out of the room. She's being too distracting. All right, let's see. Let's do another would you rather. Let's see what we got over here. All right, would you rather question is in the atmosphere category. So would you prefer, I think we did something that was similar to this, but would you prefer a brightly lit room or a cozy and dim room? I like cozy. I like side lamps. I don't like ceiling lights. They make me angry. It's too bright. It reminds me of how bright the sun is, like when the sun is like directly in your eyes when you're driving. Hi, Lori. So I have strong feelings about ceiling lights. Mary Jo likes a dim lit room. Me too. And I know, like, for some yarns, I definitely need a good amount of light. I like the neck lamp or like a little side lamp if it goes right over your project, if it's like dark yarn. but I prefer just like side, like table lamps and stuff like that. Ashley, you said that you're currently making that pattern you mentioned, and it's giving you a fuss. You looked to see if it was the problem, but it was, if you were the problem, but only has 2 project pages on Ravelry. I have not seen that one. Tammy, you said you love a cozy room, but boy, it sure is nice to work in natural light. Oh, natural light is a number one. Like, if I could sit outside in natural light, I absolutely would, like 100% of the time. But it is, because I live here in Florida, especially right now, it is a roasting outside. So it's like sitting in a sauna, and it is not a fun situation. And it's just like, you know, when your hands get too hot on yarn, it's gross. Let's see. Daisy, you said cozy for sure. Daisy, remind me of your name. I know you just said it. It takes me a few times to catch on to everybody's names. And front porch sitting, cozy and dim. Remind me of your name too, please, because I am terrible. Let me see. Janine, you like cozy with side lamps. Ashley, you like dim lit. Dawn, brightly lit room. You can see the stitches better. That is for sure. Definitely. I feel like I'm willing to sacrifice being able to see all the stitches clearly for the coziness of the atmosphere of the room. And I'm like, if I miss a stitch, it's no big deal, but I'm happy in the dark, the coziness. Lori, you said you like cozy. Janine, you said your son gave you a neck lamp for Mother's Day. Oh, that's so sweet. And Kathleen, you said brightly lit room so you can see it. It's the age. Light definitely helps you being able to see things. Cassie, you prefer natural light? Yes, absolutely. And our house is like in the direction, and like all the windows that we have are in the direction of the house that is like doesn't get good light. So I feel like our house is constantly dark anyways, which I'm not a fan of that. Like, I want natural light through the house like all the time. All the time. But since I don't have natural light, I prefer like the side table lights. And DMN874, you said you like natural light more than artificial. I'll take nice sunny sunroom or candlelit cozy area. That reminds me of a little fire. Oh, for sure. That is such a good thought on that. I love firelight. Lori, you said you have a craft lamp that you bend over your projects. That's so fun. That is definitely helpful. And Christy, you used to be able to crochet anywhere. Now you have to have all the lights on. The joys of old age. We'll all be there, crafting away. Holly, you said in the evening, cozy room, but you agree natural light is the best. You have a chair out by your front window and it's perfect. Oh, sounds perfect. Does sound perfect. Sally, you said well lit with white light, but not too bright. You have an aught light that works well. Yeah, that's fun. Those aught lights are cool. Okay, front porch sitting. That's Holly. Let me try to remember that. Let me try to remember. Let's see, Dawn, you love sitting on the porch because of the natural light. And all right. Hi, Sarah from UK. It's currently 30 degrees here, the hottest June since records began. Too hot to crochet in England. We call the ceiling light the big light. Yeah, I call it the big light too. You like the side lamps. Ah, yes. I totally understand. We need a new color. Yep. Number 1. See, Dawn, you said most of your house is dark all the time. Big trees and old craftsman, dark wood everywhere. The porches are the best light in the house. That sounds like a beautiful house, though. Like, I love the darker colors. There, we got a dark gray next to this yellow color. Yeah, I think natural light is my number one, but since I don't have that, I choose lamps. I know when the kids are in the kitchen and they're like, they're making food or something and they turn on the big light, I'm like, oh, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And then they'll go, you know, walk out of the kitchen after they're done and the light is on and I like run over to turn it off because I'm that paranoid about it not liking it. It's a problem. I have a problem. Let's do another would you rather question. Let's see what our next one is. All right, so this is technique. All right, would you rather sew in your ends as you go or wait till the end? I feel like we did these. I wonder if I put things back in here. I may have, although I think some of the questions I took from you guys that you submitted on one of my videos, and I added them in here, and I think I forgot I had them already, but it's still fun to talk about. Doesn't hurt to repeat. Mary Jo, you said you have lamps everywhere. You only use the big light when necessary. Absolutely. Same. Janine, you sew in your ends as you go. Let go. She's holding on to it again. Cassidy, at the end. Ashley, you wait till the end. Tammy, as you go. Teresa, sew in as you go. Pam, you love sitting on your screen porch to crochet until it gets too hot. Yes, I agree. I agree with that. I think that would be a beautiful setup. I'd have to go out there before the sun comes up for it to not be terribly hot. It's still hot at night here in Florida. And Dawn, you said squares you sew in the ends right away, otherwise you wait. And Pam, you sew in at the end. Kathleen, as you go. It really depends on my project for me. Like if it is, I would say more often than not, I will sew in at the end. And on occasion, it'll be as I go, depending on the project. Like if I'm at a good stopping point, like this cardigan that I did like the body section, and then I sewed in all my ends, and then I did the sleeves, and then I sewed in all my ends, and then I did the ribbing. So with things like that, I'll do it when it's at a good stopping point, because I have a problem with my brain where it's like I have to get to a point before I can do anything else. Like I have to finish one task before I go on to the next task. And it's that way with ends too. Like if I start sewing in ends, I have to sew in all the ends before I can move on to anything else. So it's a positive, I guess. Or I guess it could be a positive or a negative. Sally, you said you prefer to weave them in as you go. Your projects are usually large, and it's just overwhelming to have so many ends, and you want to start the next project. Yeah, knowing that you finish a project and you get to start a new one right away because your ends are sewn in already, that is a bonus. Pam, you said you use fans for the hot. I have one of those big fans. Number one. Oh, it's It's because I'm holding it backwards. I can see it. I have one of those like big fans, not like a box fan, but you know the ones that are like metal that have like the little stand. I put those in the house. I put them in like outside where I sit on the back porch. And those definitely help. But then when the air just gets too hot that you can't stand it. Ooh, this one I think is a Karen Simply Soft. But this was from my friend Holly when she gave me those big bags of yarn. This was one of the scraps in there. So I think that's what this one is, but super cute. And then we're just coming up on our stitch marker. That means that I have one more row to go. So we have one more row to finish up. You know, another thing with sewing in ends, I really like to have it in smaller, like, I don't like sewing in ends on a big blanket. So, like, if I have squares and I'm sewing in, I have to sew in ends of a square, I will do the squares and sew in all the ends and before I attach them, because I don't want to be lugging around a big blanket trying to sew in the center squares ends. So I definitely do that before the very end of the project. Mary Jo, yeah, most of the time it's in sections, yeah. And Cassidy, it feels frustrating to stop the flow of crochet to weave in ends and then go back to crocheting. Yeah, that's why I have to do it in portions. Like I have to finish a certain section and then I feel I've accomplished that. And then I feel like it's a fresh start before I move on to a new section. Amy, to get a good stopping point, sew in the ends and then continue on. Yep, that's the same for me. Christy, sew in at the end because of frogging. That is a good point. Because if you come up to a point where you need to frog something and your ends are already sewn in, might as well just start a whole new project and forget about that one. That's my thought. I'm a little extreme on it, I guess. And front porch sitting. Holly, did I remember that right? You just finished weaving in over 200 rows of yarn in an Attic 24 blanket. You'll never do that again. I don't blame you. That sounds like a lot. And Monica, hello, greetings from Poland. Awesome. It's your first time here. Welcome. And you're also quite a new crochet. You're new to crochet. That's so cool. Well, thank you for being here. You saw you use the magic knot. It's going to hold up in the wash. For the magic knot, I have never had a problem with it coming undone. I wash and dry everything I make, and I have never had anything come undone. But just, you know, as a disclaimer, everybody's projects, depending on the yarn and different things, you could have a different experience. But for me personally, I've never had any issues with the magic knot. It has always stayed very well for me. So I hope that that's the same experience for you. But you might want to test it out with the type of yarn that you have before you do like a big project with it. Or you could even leave the ends on for a little bit and just see how it washes and dries, and then clip the ends. Holly said you have to go, but you'll catch the replay later. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And I will see you later. Mary Jo, you said that's why you do it in sections to make it good before weaving in. Yep, that's a good idea. frogging with ends woven in are terrible. It's a terrible experience. Lori, you just finished the Ophelia Talks crochet blanket that had a new color every row. She has a pocket border that traps the ends so you don't have to sew them in. That's so nice. I have done I don't know if it's the same thing as a pocket border, but an envelope border, that for mosaic blankets. Oh, Tammy is asking for everyone to hit the like button if possible. That would be wonderful. Is when we, with you guys commenting and liking and all that fun stuff, it tells YouTube to send it to other crochet people so that we can get more buddies in here to hang out with us. So this is what it's looking so far. We've got a lot of greens and blues and stuff on these last few rows. And we'll go over the whole thing once I get this last row done, because we are on our last row of this half, and I'm hoping we have enough time to seam up the shoulder and do the cuff. But if not, we can do that next week. Laura, you said that's what it is, envelope. Okay, so it's the same thing. That's so cool. That is really a neat idea, and it gives it a nice thick border because it's double-sided. I really like that kind of border. I like the way it looks. I think I've told you guys before that borders are my least favorite part of a blanket. Like, I would rather weave in ends than put on a border. I don't know what it is about it. I feel like it's like, I don't think that this border is necessary. I think it's fine as it is. I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way about borders? And then with the envelope border, it's not just one border, it's two borders because it's front and back. And as pretty as it looks, don't like it. I do not. Cassidy said, are you going to weave in the ends on the cardigan? I'm using the magic knot on all of these, so I don't have any ends to weave in. So we are just going to leave it as is. I'm making sure that the knot is really tight. And we just had Monica asking about that as far as the magic knot in the washer and dryer. I have never had a problem with it. And I wash and dry everything, and they have always held up just fine. But I do make sure that they are extra snug. Tammy, you said you agree on the border. It feels like you just finished the blanket and now you have to go all the way around the big thing one more time for a border. I know. It's crazy. And if it's like multiple rows on top of it, like multiple row border or like a fancy border with all kinds of extra steps to it, oh boy. Holly, you said sometimes it makes, sometimes you make the border as you go. You think by the time you get to the border instructions, you're over it. Some of the borders are complicated. Yeah, that is true, but that's really neat that you have it figured out that you can do it as you go. Like, that's talent. I don't think I'd use enough brain power to think through that. No border. Sally, you said you like borders and you think it gives the blanket and throw a finished look. I totally agree with the finished look. Like, I love the look of borders. Love it, love it, love it. I just don't like doing them. That's the problem. I get stubborn at the end. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't want it. And then, I just was looking at some of the old blankets that I had done, and I did a mosaic blanket. And I left the tails really short on the end, and I don't know if my plan was to do a border on it or if I was just going to leave it, but I feel like if I was going to leave it, I would have left longer tassels, but that one needs a border. And, you know, the ends are just so pitiful and short. They can't be tassels. They're too tiny to do that. So I need to put a border on it now, and it has to be an envelope border because it is the mosaic crochet with the ends on both sides. Janine, you said you don't like doing borders if you had an issue making the project, but otherwise you don't mind. Oh, okay. So if it was a good blanket experience, you don't mind finishing it off with a nice border. That's good. Yeah, I don't. I wish I liked them. But you know what's weird is, like, I feel like the ribbing on a cardigan is kind of like the same thing. You could do without the ribbing, but it looks so much nicer when you put the ribbing and the button band and everything on a cardigan. I feel like it's the same thing, but I love putting ribbing on cardigans. It's like my favorite part because it's like it's finishing it up. So explain that to me. I don't know. Yes, Cassidy, what is your question? Let's see, how close are we? We have this much more of this one. Cassidy, you said, do I keep notes on every project, some, or do you not keep notes at all? So I have these bullet journal books that have like the graph paper, and I get like the nice thick paper so I can use like markers and stuff and it doesn't bleed through. And I have a stack of those, and I try to draw like diagrams of, or like a basic idea, like if it's a cardigan or blanket or something like that, I draw in there the basic shapes and stuff, and sometimes I'll do dimensions and how many stitches and stuff, and then I'll also try and do like a step-by-step on the pages surrounding the picture. That's typically what I do, and I keep notes, and when I'm doing tutorials, I will read off my notes. And I typically will fill those up and just keep them in a drawer, but I don't really have an order as far as like, for a while I was doing one book in cardigans, one book for blankets, one for other items, which I should probably go back to, but then I kept losing them and I couldn't find the ones that I needed, so I just take one and I just work through it and keep all my notes and drawings and stuff in that, and or ideas or brainstorming type of thing. So it's kind of a chaotic mess. And you said you like to keep track of what yarn you use and hook size, etc. That's a very smart idea. And like, I was keeping that book with my current like main project, specifically the ones that I would design. The ones, if I'm making something from a pattern, I just go off of what the pattern says, and so I keep the pattern with the project so I can refer to that kind of thing. And normally the pattern, like if I printed it off, I'm pretty rough on my paper patterns, so I will probably throw them away after I'm done using them because they're like ripped or stained. I put my coffee on top of it. I'm rough on my paper patterns. I got my mug for today. It's water because I had my coffee earlier, but isn't this cute? I thrifted this one the other day. That was perfect. Let's do another Would You Rather. Let's see. All right, this one is in the category of hooks. Teresa, you said you take pictures and keep pictures in notes in the Notes app on your phone. 1 note per project. That is so smart. I love that because there are a lot of like project tracking apps. Some of them you have to pay for. I think that I've seen a lot of people keep track of their projects on Ravelry, but I don't know if that's like a paid option. I haven't looked into that. But then, you know, you have everything there. But the Notes app on your phone is so smart to use. Okay, so our question category is hooks. Do you guys like tapered hooks or inline hooks? Tell me what you like. I am a tapered hook person. I love tapered hooks. I cannot do inline. As cool as they look, as much as I want to use them, I can't. It just doesn't function for me. I get caught all over. It splits my yarn. I need tapered hooks to function. And Christy, oh, Christy said, thanks, Miss Naughty, for the idea on the Notes app. That it is so neat because the Notes app, you really can, you can upload pictures to it. You can put notes underneath it. It's an amazing app that just comes right on your phone. Yeah, Janine says that's a great idea. Okay. Cassidy says she likes tapered. Lori likes inline. Tristabella likes tapered. So, okay, I have a question for all of you inline users. Can you please explain to me what it is that you like about inline compared to tapered hooks? Because for me, I can't get them to flow well because the sharp point on it catches on my yarn. It catches on my yarn. It doesn't flow through smoothly. And I know that everybody likes each hook and I'm so thankful for that. But when I use it, I'm like, who uses these? Who do these use or work for? Because they don't work with the yarn. And I know that I'm wrong. I know that that is just a mental thing for me and like what functions well for me because we're all different. But I want to know the reason you like them because I want to understand why I'm so frustrated with the way that they work and why you, like, tell me why you don't like tapered hooks too. Like, that's what I would really like to know because I haven't been able to really like pick anybody's brain on why they like the certain ones. Because I can say I don't like it because it catches on my yarn and the point of the hook is too sharp for the yarn and it splits it. And okay, so Tammy says you did tapered until you saw Creative Grandma talking about how inline hooks help with tension. Yes, I have heard about that. And you said now you love them. I have heard about that. I've heard that you get more consistent stitch tension and that your stitches are more consistent. I've heard that and I think that that's an awesome quality. And but do they not catch on your yarn? For those that like the inline hooks, they don't catch on your yarn and you struggle getting your hook through? Lori, you said you feel like it grabs the yarn better for you? Because it's more of a drastic point. Is that why you think it maybe grabs it better? It's not so like rounded, like the end here is not so rounded for you, so it holds on to the yarn better. Tristabella, you said you keep your current whips in an A3 clear envelopes with the hook, the yarn, and the pattern if I print it, but most are on my phone. That is a very organized way to work with your printed patterns. That is impressive. I'm just like, they might get stapled and then it's chaos after that. I'm like, what order do these go in? So I'm doing well if I remember to staple them together. It's crazy, isn't it? Christy said you like it tapered, but if you want to make yourself slow down, you use an inline. You know, that might be a really good thing for me to practice because sometimes I crochet so much that I hurt my wrist, and sometimes I need to slow myself down. So that's probably a really good technique to remember, because I have inline hooks because I love the look of them and I want to use them. I just can't make myself do that. Kathleen, you said you primarily use inline, but you don't mind either. You use whatever you grab. Inline helps control tension since the neck doesn't taper. Yep, I've heard that. That's awesome. And Tammy, you said you never have a problem with that in inline hooks. It holds your yarn better. That is so fascinating to me because maybe for me, it's like it holds it too well. And that's why it grabs it like mid-strand. Like I really have to intentionally crochet slower and like very intentionally do my stitches. Sally, you said your hooks are straight, so you guess that they're inline. I don't know if I have. I just moved my hooks out of here. But this is, you see how this is a plastic hook, so it's probably a really bad way of showing you, and I don't have anything else in here, but tapered hooks are more of a softer finish. Inline hooks have like a very sharp like cutout where the hook is, and this one is a bad example too because it's really not tapered much on the top here. It's straighter, but typically the tapered hook is thinner on the top and then gets thicker, and the inline is like the whole thing is the same width, if that helps at all. But I don't have an example, unfortunately. I just moved my stuff out of here when I did my new desk area. I put everything, I tried to keep everything together because I had things sporadically everywhere. I'm trying to be better with keeping like items together. Lori, you said if you're using small yarn, you struggle with a tapered hook. And then yes, because of the sharp tip, it works better for me. Okay, that makes sense. Like if it's difficult for your hook to hang on to your yarn, then the inline hook is more helpful for grabbing and holding on to your yarn. For me, I've never had a problem with my yarn staying on my hook, so that makes a lot of sense because for me, it's extra grabby. The inline hooks are extra grabby and it frustrates me. But if you have a problem with your hook holding onto your yarn as you're going through stitches, the inline hook apparently helps more. So that's great to know. That's helpful for me to understand because I'm over here being like, how does this work for anybody? Hi, Shell. You said hi to everyone. How goes the crochet today? It goes great. We are on our last row of our Hexagon Granny cardigan, our first half. So we're on the last row of the first half. Let's see. And Holly, you said use both. Your hands hurt sometimes, so using different types of hooks cause me to crochet differently and use different muscles in my hand. That is a smart way to look at it, because I have found when I use, if all I'm using is my 5.5 millimeter or my 5 millimeter from Hobby Lobby, I don't have any problems because it has the bamboo handle and it's thicker. I don't have any problems, but as soon as I transition to something with a larger hook or a smaller hook, like if I go to a 4 or 4.5 hook, even with the same handle, or if I go up to something like this for a long period of time, like while I'm doing it here with you guys, not a problem at all. But if I'm doing like hours of it, it hurts my hands and my arm, just because of the different grip, or the different, like, how much you're moving your hand for it. But I can go all day every day with my regular 5.5 Hobby Lobby hook forever and never feel anything until I start doing something different along with it. Then it does hurt. Amy, you said, please explain the difference of these hooks. I'm not sure what point we're talking about. Let me go grab one real quick and I'll show you. And then we have to pick another color. Ooh, so sorry. I kicked my tripod. Okay, explaining the difference of these hooks. Let me get a couple examples here. Sorry if I made you guys dizzy with kicking the tripod all over the place. Okay, let me show you. So these are the Susan Bates hooks. So Susan Bates hooks are inline hooks, and like the boy hooks, or the typical like tapered hook, boy hooks are one that is a tapered, and you can see the difference. So this one here, both of these are inline hooks. You see how there is a sharp point there on the bottom, and then look at the front of it. You see how it is, or maybe from the back you can see, it is just a straight line. So you can see, let me hold these together so you can see this. So this is the inline, a sharp point on the bottom of the hook, and then the tip of the hook here is straight. Now the same thing with these two. Let me do them side by side like that. This hook is softer, like rounded more so. See that this is rounded more on the top and rounded on the hook more. And then you can see from the back of the hook, it is tapered, where it's pointed more on the top, and then it goes down to the thicker part of the hook. You see that? So you can see the difference here. This one is tapered, this one is inline. So hopefully it helps. So I'm talking about, I like the tapered ones. Those work really well for me. These don't work as well for me because this point on the end of the hook splits in between my yarn pieces. Like if I was grabbing the yarn with my hook, I feel like it grabs in between the strands. I don't know if you can see that. See, the pointed part a lot of the time like grabs in between the strands and like gets caught in there. So I hope that was helpful to look at it real quick. Let's see. Let me catch up on comments. So Amy, I hope that was helpful. But everybody uses different ones, and everybody really likes both on opposite ends. Some people are good at using both, and that's very impressive. And Beth, you use any hook? You didn't realize there were other kinds? That is so cool that you didn't know a difference. I am impressed when people don't have a problem with one or the other, that you can use both. That's great. Sally, you said, thanks, they are tapered hooks. Okay, cool. We need another color. Oh, you like my chair? Thank you. This is from a thrift store. It was recovered. From what I can tell, it was recovered with this fabric, but this is how I bought it. I just saw it there and knew that I needed to have it. Amy, you said that that helped? Good. You're looking at various hooks on eBay and wondered what the different hooks were. The lots have many different types of hooks. Yeah, there are so many different types, but those are the two very common shapes. I feel like I see more tapered hooks than I do inline hooks. I don't know if that's your experience or not, but I think the older brand of hooks were all tapered. I feel like inline is a newer style, but I'm really not sure. Oh, I need a color. I need a new color. So we have a one. You can see it that time. And I have a, I don't know what this one is. I don't know. It looks like it's part of a color changing. You know what this is? I'm pretty sure this one is from my my tapered sleeve hexagon cardigan tutorial. I'm pretty sure that's this one. It's like a portion of it, one of my scraps. Should we do another would you rather? Oh no, I got a not a good one. Do another would you rather question and keep going. I think we're a couple sides in on this last row. And then we can seam it up. We're already an hour in of chatting this morning. All right, let's see. Would you rather? Christy, you like the tapered hooks? Sally, you have the colored metal hooks from the 70s and they are tapered. Okay, awesome. So they aren't a new thing. Are they still Susan Bates, or are they something, a different brand, or are they like unmarked or something? Oh, Christy, you're saying your old bone hooks. So they're made of bone and they're tapered. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm mixing up the words. Tapered, not inline. Okay, so Sally, your hooks from the 70s are tapered hooks. So the older ones are tapered. And Christy said that the bone hooks are tapered. And Dawn, you said whenever you are using a 4.5 or below, you tend to switch to something between a knife and a pencil grip to hold the hook closer to the end, and it helps alleviate pain. That's smart. You know, I find myself trying the pencil grip and trying all like different, like putting it through one of my fingers and holding it differently to try and, you know, adjust what muscles are being used. Hi, Viola. It's good to have you. All right, so this would you rather question is under technique, the category of technique. So do you guys like to sew in your ends or crochet over your ends? Which one do you prefer? I used to crochet over all my ends, and I learned the hard way that I can't do that because whatever technique I was using for it, it doesn't work. They were popping out all over the place. So if you guys have a good technique to actually crochet over your ends and keep them contained, I would love to know what your trick is. Tammy, thanks for stopping in and being here for so long. I will see you later. And thanks for watching the replay. We'll talk to you soon. And Christy, you said Yes, the bone hooks are carved and have no size on them. That is so interesting. I guess, yeah, how would you know what size to do? Do you know when those are from? I bet they would have to be really old to not have sizes on them, right? Danny, you prefer sewing in because it feels like it stays better. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I thought that crocheting over my ends was fine, but I learned the hard way that it didn't work. Dawn, you said you used to crochet over, but they always popped out eventually. Now you weave everything in. Yep, same here. Oh, okay. Teresa crochets over a few stitches and then sews them in, so they're extra secure. I like that. And then it's not like you don't have a knot and a sewn in section in the same place. That's a good idea. I like that. I like that combo. Christy, you leave the ends long enough to crochet over and then weave in the rest. Awesome. So you and Sally, or you and Teresa do the same thing. Sally, you said your hooks only have size, no name. You do crochet over some of the ends, but then you leave a small tail and weave that in. That. A lot of you guys seem to do that. That's really a good idea. I might have to do that. Lori, you agree with Miss Naughty Crochet? Mm-hmm. Yep. Crocheting over and then weaving in. Danny, you said bone hooks are 75 to 180 years old per Google. That's amazing. And you have some of those. That's so cool. Isn't it really neat to think about, like, what did those things create? Like, what kind of clothes? I'm assuming it would have been clothes that would have made, or, you know, something warm, like a blanket or something. Like, what was that making back then? Such a cool idea. Mary Jo, you like to weave in your ends. That's awesome. I really think that that's the better way to go, especially for, you know, my experience with crocheting. Amy, you like to crochet and weave. Pam, you agree with Miss Naughty Crochet. Mm-hmm. I think that that's a really great way to do it. You crochet over it and then sew it in. We need a new color. Ooh, we got number 2. So go basket number 2. Christy, you said the bone hooks are so short you think hands were made smaller than. Oh, actually, I'm pretty sure, if I'm thinking of it right, the average size of people were smaller at that time period. I think we went from bigger and then got smaller there, and now we're getting bigger. This is our color. Nice tan. It goes with our last color pretty well. All right, where's my end? Let me tie this on and we'll do another would you rather question. Cassidy, the last question that we had was inline or tapered hook. So I think you were here for that. We've just been talking about the age of different hooks. Yeah, you were here for that one. All right, now that this is sewn on, let's do another Would You Rather. So Cassie, you're back just in time for the next one. All right, category of granny squares. Okay, do you guys like the classic granny square, like the granny square stitch of the three doubles, or do you like fancy grannies? So things that have like flowers in them, or like starburst grannies, or like solid grannies or something like that. So anything other than like the classic. What ones do you guys like? Oh, we've got classics coming in. Mary Jo, Shell. You like the classics. Christy, you like retro daisy square. Ooh. Pam, you like both. Kathleen, fancy granny. And let's see. PRP, I'm not sure what your name is. I don't know if I've seen you here before. If you'd like to share your name, that would be awesome. I will do my best to try and remember. But you said you're fairly new to crochet, and you also didn't realize there were different types. You'll be going home and examining all your hooks now. Mostly found them at thrift stores. Oh, that's awesome that you found them at thrift stores. I cannot find hardly any hooks at thrift stores. There's so many knitting needles, but hardly any crochet hooks. So that's awesome that you found some there. And Janine, you like the classic grannies. And Danny, you never made granny squares, but you're planning on doing a classic bag. Ooh, you've never made granny squares before? I hope you have so much fun with them when you do, because they're amazing. They're my all-time favorite. I will always have a granny square project going because they are the best, in my opinion, for me. Lori, Debbie, you like the classic. Viola, you like classic and African flower. I don't know if I've seen that one before. I bet it's really pretty. And okay, so we've got one for fancy, lacy, and floral grannies. That's so cool. Those are all, they all sound so nice. Teresa, you don't make squares. I won't come at you. Don't worry. But I'm shocked. I'm so shocked. You're missing out. That's all I have to say about that. You're missing out on the best part of crochet. Dawn, you like classic. Oh, Lauren, that's my daughter's name, so I hope I remember that. Purple person. So it's so good to have you. And you like fancy and flower grannies are fun. Yes. I love a unique one every once in a while, but I like the classics. And my favorite part of doing the grannies are changing colors and doing a variety of different colors and playing with the order and the color combinations. Like, that is my favorite thing to do with granny squares. Or like a really good variegated yarn. I love that. Sally, you said you prefer different types of squares. Hexagons, flowers, etc. You do like the classic grannies too. Cassidy, you've definitely made classic granny squares, just haven't gotten to do fancy ones yet. Yeah, they're fun. They are fun. It's nice. I really like when there are projects that have like the classic granny and then they throw in some of the random ones, either like on the corners or around the outside edge or something like that. I think that that gives it such a nice little twist, and like it really dresses it up a lot. Amy, you said you've only made the classic granny, but I'm seriously eyeing some fancy grannies. Ooh, Well, if you try them, I hope you have a lot of fun. There are some really amazing creators out there that do very unique granny squares. They're so pretty. And Lauren, you said, what is it called when you don't follow a pattern or row repeat, but kind of freehand or pick new stitches each row and round? I feel like I've seen that called like a sample blanket or something like that. That's what I've seen. Or freehand, like you mentioned, like a freehand project or like a sample stitch project. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I feel like that's what I would want to call it. You guys, we have one more side and then we can seam it up. We need to see what sides we want for the most visible sides. I'm going to do another question. We'll do that. If anyone is here and have not hit the like button, if I could speak, if anyone would like to hit the like button while you're watching, that would help the channel a ton. It'd be super helpful. I'm going to do another would you rather question. You guys, I forgot my chopstick. Like, I really need my chopstick right now. My lips are feeling it. Okay, so this one is in the category of yarn preference. So for yarn preference, would you rather work from a skein or a ball? And I feel like this is mainly for the center pull skein people. That's my guess, that would be two separate things. But if you are an outside, like if you pull from the outside of a skein, I almost feel like a skein or a ball wouldn't really make much of a difference. But you can let me know if you'd like to share that. I prefer a skein because I am a center pull fan. All right, so far we have 5 skeins, 6 skeins. Yep, I'm with you on that one. Yes, Danny, skein, but only with the center pull. And Teresa, you said you use a yarn holder, so it makes no difference, ball or skein. Yeah, that's kind of my thought, is if you pull from the outside, it really doesn't matter if it's a ball or a skein. I think skein only counts if you are a center pull fan. Mary Jo, I didn't even notice. Let's see. Grandma Wishbone, if you're going to sew over your yarn, you have to leave longer to compensate for this stretch. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that one. Jackie, you cake everything you work on from a cake, so center pull. Shell, skein, or cake, center pull all the way. Sally, skein for crochet and cakes for knitting. Oh yeah, because I feel like knitting is more of like you took it from a hank and made it into a cake of yarn, is my guess. All right, this is the last color, possibly, unless it's a really tiny scrap. I'm gonna do our last color for this row. Let's see. Number 2. All right, we probably won't use up this whole skein or this whole ball because let's see if I can find a tiny one in here. All right. Ooh, yellow. Yellow. This is our next color, and this is the one we're going to be finishing with. I think, maybe not. But we are on our last side of the last row of our hexagon, our first side of our hexagon. Kathleen, you said center pull, but you don't mind a skein or a ball. That's good that you're able to go with either one. I don't care for balls of yarn because they bounce all over the place, or you have to have a place to put them, or something. I like center pull. Lori, does it matter to you what's the reason for preference? I'm curious. I'm a center pull. For me, I don't like a ball of yarn because it seems to bounce all over the place, and if I'm pulling from it and it's like wherever it is, it rolls around, and I don't like stuff rolling around on the floor. But if I have it up on a table, it typically will bounce out of wherever I'm like containing it, like a yarn bowl or something. They always bounce out. They never stay put. So that's for me. I like to know where my yarn is at all times. I don't want to know it's wandering off somewhere in my house. And Viola, you said you agree with Catherine. And Christy, because of tangles, knots, and frogging, a ball or cake. You ball or cake everything. Okay, gotcha. I am very purposeful where I leave my skeins of yarn. I try to not touch them. Like once they get to a certain point, I don't move them or pick them up or anything. I keep them contained in a basket. And if I need to move something, they move in a basket. So I'm not moving stuff around, because once the skein gets to a certain point, if it is moving all over and getting tossed around, it will really get tangled. So I'm pretty careful with where my skeins are and how I move them around. And then I don't really get tangles much, thankfully. But if you're moving your project from place to place, it's very easy for a skein to get tangled. So I can understand wanting to avoid that. Dawn, you said you bought a cheap waste basket and keep it by my feet for balls so that they don't roll all over the place. A waste basket is smart because it's deep. That is smart. I'll have to thrift for something like that because I like that idea. Because sometimes I do have a ball of yarn that I need to, like right now. I don't know where it is. It's under the chair somewhere right now. That drives me nuts. I want to know how much is left. So I will have to look for a waste basket. That is a smart idea. Shell, you use your own yarn bowl or a basket when you use a scrap ball. It helps to keep it lower than you, less bouncing around. That is a smart idea, because I think a lot of the time I keep mine on a table, like in front of me or a desk, and that's where I might be running into a problem. Cassidy, you pull from the center on the skein that are wound in a circular direction, but pull from the outside of the skein that are wound in more of a triangular direction. Yes, that is the way to go. I don't think I have, yeah, I do have a skein. So if you guys are curious about what she's talking about, this is a skein that is wound in a spiral or like a circle. So you can see how it is like in a circle. So that is a good center pull skein. And this is a good outer pull skein. This one's a little bit messy, but you can see how it's wound kind of in a triangle shape. This is really good for outside unwinding. Center pull on these, especially the big pound ones, you get a lot of yarn barf. So a lot of the insides will come out with the ends, and it's frustrating. So that is a good reminder that the different skeins are good for different things, or using them different ways. Let me catch up here. Okay. Stephen Alexander, you said that you have a glass jar filled with yarn balls you made from leftover skeins of yarn. Once you have enough, you use the magic knot and tie them together and use the yarn winder to make them into a cake. That's awesome. And I do something similar, but I use, like, when I have this size, I use them in projects like we're doing today. But if I have little strands that are really short, that really can't make up a ball, I keep them all in here and then I wind them up, which I am due to start winding because there's a ball in there that I started, but I need to wind the rest of those up. And then I use that, like you said, wind it into a ball or a cake and then use it for a project with like ultra scraps. And Debbie, you said you like center pull, but some skeins you can't find the center. Yep. And Lauren, you said after a few months of trying always buying a lot of destashed thrifted yarn, you know, you now cake everything. Pull, center pull, life for you. Absolutely. That is a smart way to do it. I like it. Sally, you said if you have a yarn ball, you put it in a Ziploc bag and close most of the bag and keep the bag inside your project bag. That's so smart. And then like the plastic keeps it slippery, so it just keeps rolling around. You guys with your hacks. Oh my goodness, I love it. You guys are amazing sharing all the things that you have figured out. It makes me so happy. Cassidy, much less tangle with that technique for the circular wound skeins or the triangle wound skeins. Yeah, that's a good hack to know how to not get frustrated. Mary Jo, you rather deal with the yarn barf. Yeah. Dawn, you don't mind yarn barf, feels like an accomplishment when I get through it. Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. Sometimes I'm like, can I get like a good pull where it's not gonna have too much yarn barf? And then if it's terrible, I've had half the skein come out before, and then it's like one of those nesting dolls where it's like you pull the center out and it's like most of the ball of yarn, and then you try to get the other center out and the other center, so you've got like 5 different skeins lined up trying not to tangle everything. Have you guys had that? Oh, that's absolutely terrible. Shell, you said when you pick up a skein, if the outside end is tucked inside, pull it out and start from the opposite end to look for your center pull. That's a good hack. Stephen Alexander commented on Sally's comment. You use plastic bags sometimes when you're crocheting with 2 things of yarn. That's smart. And is it Carabeth or is it Beth? You recently crocheted a remote holder and it goes over the desk in front of me, or can go over the chair arm. The pocket is big enough for a ball of yarn, so you put the yarn in there and pull from there. That's so smart. I love it. You guys are so cool with all your hacks. I'm on the corner. We have made it all the way around. All right, I'm just going to tighten that up real quick. We're gonna look at it. We made it. We made it. We did it. We got it. All right, let's see what it's looking like so far. This is the half. I'm gonna see, what do I want the most visible? There's that side. There's this side. I've got my citrus punch up there. Let's see. I like this side with the red there. That's really pretty. Cassidy, I know it's so pretty. I love it. I love it. I think I like that side. But I like, so this might be my left-hand side. I think I like that. Stephen Alexander, you said last year you purchased a yarn bag that another YouTuber recommended and you love it. You also have 6 skeins of yarn in the bag and you don't have to worry about the yarn all over the place. I like that. Is that the one, like, is it like a fabric tote bag kind of, and it has like all those separated sections, and then some of them have like the little grommet holes that you can pull the yarn through? Is that one of those things? It's Kara, but you like Beth too? All right, I'll see if I can remember that. Okay. Oh, okay, so that's the container that you were talking about. I think that's so nice. I like that. Okay. So my yarn is still connected here, so I'm just going to continue going with this skein, or this ball of yarn, and just seam that up really quick. And I am just going to do the flat zipper join. That's my favorite way to join, but you guys can do, if you guys do the tutorial that I have, you could use whatever type of join you like. That's just my favorite one. I feel like it looks the tidiest to me. Just need to get my stuff in order here. Okay, we're ready. We're ready, we're ready. Let's see. Oh, some of you guys have that same type of bag with the separated sections. I really like that too. I got rid of mine and I don't know why. I'm not sure why. Because every time I see one, I'm like, that is so smart. I love that. And I don't know why I ever got rid of it. So we are finishing up. I'm gonna have to take a little bit more concentration over here. We should do another would you rather. So we are almost done. Almost done. I'm stuck. Oh my goodness. It's probably not the best thing for me to do while I'm trying to chat with you guys, because it takes a little bit of focusing. But let's do another would you rather. And we have, okay, so this one was from someone that wanted to ask a question, or had it on, I'm going to show the name here. So this is one that asked, and would you rather stripes or squares? So for cardigans, blankets, projects, do you like doing stripes or do you prefer making things in squares? Stephen Alexander, you said you feel like you need multiple bags for all the projects you start. You think the reason you have so many whips is because I see something I want to make and start them as a reminder. Yep, I totally understand that. You guys, I have so many whips started right now that I'm starting to get into that rut of being a little insane, where I'm just like, there's so much I can't think. What one do I want to do? I need to start a new one. That's where I'm at right now. That's my brain. All right, Dawn, you said you like squares. Teresa likes stripes. Pam likes stripes. Mary Jo says she does that with the projects. Sally, you like both but lean towards squares. I definitely prefer squares. Stephen Alexander loves squares, but you don't really have a preference for making projects. That's good. That's good that you're flexible. You can do whatever flows the best at the moment. Janine likes squares. Dawn, squares. As I sit here crocheting, back loop only. Back loop only. Yep. Sounds like fun. Laura, you said you like both. Christy, do you mean rows or working in rounds? I took it as working in rows, but I don't, like, I think maybe as a project, like, would you rather work in stripes, like work a project, like, I took it as like bottom to top type of thing, like stripes, or in squares and put them together. I don't know, that's how I took it. Mary Jo, you like both, but depends on the project. Make sure I'm lining this up right. Okay, we're still on track. Good. Because I'm not paying attention. I am not paying attention at all. Grandma Wishbone, you said origami circles. Amy, you said squares. Stephen Alexander, you think it depends on the yarn. Like, I have some yarn that looks better in rows and some that looks better in squares and some that just needs a unique look. Yep. I understand that. It definitely depends on the yarn. Christy, you prefer making one big square. Ooh. That's cool. Like as a blanket, like you like to make one big square instead of a bunch of little squares. Sharon says, hi, hello. She says hello to everyone. Oh, Pam, my mom is not here today. She had some work to do, but she told me, she's like, I'm gonna miss it. I'm so sorry. She loves hanging out with you guys. But I think she said that she's not going to be here today or next week. I think that was what she was saying, because she's got prior plans. But I'll tell her you guys said hi. And Mary Jo, you said you love granny cardigans, but also love bottom up cardies, and you're working on a scrap one now. That's so cool. Oh, Pam. Yes, I'll let her know that you miss her. She's a cutie. She likes to have fun in the chat. She likes chatting with you guys. Mary Jo, no, I have never watched Charmed? No, I've never seen it. No, I have not. Sharon, you said it's so hot here in Belgium. It's currently 18.44 and it's 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh. That's about where we are in Florida. And we've got that lovely humidity too. So if you didn't think it was hot enough, just add melting onto it. We are hot and melting. If we did not have AC, I don't know if I could survive. I feel like I'd just lay around hoping for air, just chugging water. Christy, have I ever made a mandala? Each row is different. Yes, I have. I've made several mandala blankets, and I was like obsessed with them for a while. Like, I had months where that's all I wanted to make. And it's fun, but then once you get to the outer edges, it gets a bit much. But I love the finished result of those. I think they're beautiful. I just get really tired of them by the end. Cassidy, same in Texas. Oh yeah. Is it humid there right now in Texas? I always assume that Texas is drier, but we have family that lives in Texas, and to hear the extremes that Texas gets, like I always think of Texas as like hot, kind of like how Florida is, where it's just hot all the time, even through the winter and stuff. We get into the 50s maybe in the winter, and you know, that's a little bit of a break from the 90s and stuff, but Texas gets like extreme cold and ice storms and all that crazy stuff, and then also extreme heat. So I just feel like that's crazy weather there. Like, it's terrible. Oh, okay. Sorry, Dawn, you said it's 6:44 p.m. All right, you were talking about time. I'm sorry about that. Sharon, you said it's really horrible. We're having a red warning tomorrow on the temperature. Ooh, I hope you guys are okay. Mary Jo, you said, because right now you remind me of Holly Marie Combs. Sorry, it's my ADHD brain. You know, I feel like somebody had mentioned that I remind them of somebody from Charmed, and I can't remember who it was. She said it was something that I do with my hands. I'm not sure if that's the same thing that you're thinking about. I had to look it up, and I was like, I guess I could see that. Like the way that I use my hands or something. Cassidy said it's super humid. Oh, that's awful. Humidity is the worst part of the heat. Like, I don't mind being warm, but as soon as it's humid, it's gross. Carrie, you said your go-to is always the classic granny, but if you're making a doll dress, you'll use stripes. That's a good way to use stripes. I like that. All right, you guys, I just seamed up the top. Let's try it on, and then we'll do the cuff. You said it's very humid in Louisiana. Ooh, I'm so sorry about that. All right, this is what we got. I'm gonna do a cuff. Here we go. I love it. I'm so excited. Although I think this is gonna be my left side. Because I like the what's going on in there. Yeah, this is gonna be the front, I think, the front left. I'll put a cuff on there. I'm gonna use the same yarn because I'm not out of it yet. And then we will change if we need to before it's done. Or change if we need to if it goes out before we're done with the cuff. And then I'll let you guys go. I've bothered you long enough today. Just really wanted to get this half done. Let me catch up on chat. Let's see. Oh, Cassidy, you said that it's currently 90 degrees, but feels like 108. Ooh, goodness. I know our yesterday was 90 something, and it felt like, you know, our weather app said it felt like 104. That humidity really adds a lot. A lot. Let's see. Holly, you said Virginia summers are terrible. And you hibernate during the summers. I know, I wish I could just go to sleep for a couple months. Just sleep. You know, my favorite part of hibernating would be eating all the food like a bear, like eat and eat and eat, and purposely gain weight, and then you can sleep it all off for a few months. I am a bear at heart. That sounds like a lovely life. I love it. Let's see. And Christy, you said that you've made about 10 continuous granny square baby blankets, but use all your yarn scraps. That's so cool. Good job. So there's characters on Charm that had granny square clothes. That's cool. I love when you see like real crochet stuff on TV, and it drives me nuts when people are on shows and they're like crocheting or knitting and they clearly have a crochet blanket and they've got knitting needles stuck through it, or the opposite. I'm like, you guys, goodness gracious, it's silly. All right, we got one row of singles around this cuff here. Got that. I'm gonna do a row of doubles. I did that kind of loose, so do a row of doubles around here to see what it looks like. Yeah, I think that these colors all work together really well too. I'm very happy with them. We took out all the bright colors that we originally started with and decided to go with all earthy tones because the bright colors were throwing off the groove. Rosemary said, you love the granny square chair, definitely one of a kind. I'm in Utah, wildfires here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you stay safe. That stuff is so scary, but I hope you stay safe. The chair I found at a thrift store, and judging by the label on the bottom of the chair, I looked it up online. I couldn't find a granny square chair on there, so I'm assuming they got it recovered. That's what I'm thinking happened. All right, we have a question from Stephen Alexander. Fun question for everyone who makes granny squares. Do you chain one when moving over to the next space, or do you yarn over to the next space? You yarn over. So I think you mean that you just go right into the next granny cluster. Is that it? Like the next 3 doubles? Because that's what I do. I don't do chains in between my granny squares unless I'm making a specific project that I want it to be a lot more loose and flowy, and then I'll do a chain in between clusters. But it takes a lot for me to like focus on remembering to do that because it's not what I'm used to. Not what I'm used to doing. All right, got all the way around the cuff. Dawn usually does a yarn over. Lori's yarn over. Pam, you do a chain 1 for corners only. Oh, okay. I do a chain 2 for corners. But I bet that makes a really nice tight square. Kara, you chain 1 between each group of 3 and you do 2 chains on the corner. Occasionally you turn the whole thing around and go the other way because it has less twisting in the pattern overall. And Debbie, you do a chain 1. Mary Jo, you don't chain in between and you chain 2 in the corner. Yeah, Mary Jo, I think I do the same thing you do. All right, here's the cuff so far. We are out of yarn, so I need to do another pick. This will be our last pick for today and for our side. So we are a 2 again, basket 2. And we are ending with a blue. If I can find the end. A dark blue color. All right, let's do one last would you rather question on our last ball of yarn. And this one is in the category of yarn preference. So do you prefer center pull or to unwind from the outside? I'm pretty sure we had this one before, but we're gonna roll with it. And actually we kind of answered this earlier in the chat, but if you guys are coming in more recently, maybe you missed that one. But I am a center pull fan. I love a center pull. Mary Jo, you said that you always turn your work every round for granny squares. I don't. I just go. I go with it. And I never really seem to have a problem with twisting, from what I can tell, because I always end up in the corner. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. And for me, I like the I like all the right side of the stitch on the same side, because I like the right. I like there to be a right and a wrong side, because I like the right side. And we had a couple duplicate questions today, so. See, Pam likes center pull, Dawn likes center pull, Vintage Needle Crafter, you definitely center pull. You prefer center pull? Me too. Stephen Alexander, Mary Jo, you turn every round as well because it helps keep the granny square from slanting. Yes, I've definitely heard that that helps. So, question for people that see spiraling in their granny square. I feel like I don't tend to have that issue, but maybe I'm just not making big enough granny squares to notice it. But do you guys do do you start and finish your granny square mid side, or do you start and end on the corner? Because I always start and end on the corner. But do you go, do you start and end your rows mid side, if that makes any sense? I don't know what you guys do. Maybe that's a question for everybody. I'd like to know. Do you guys do, like, when you finish a row, are you ending in the center of the square, or are you ending on a corner of your square? That's a question for everybody. I want to know what you do. I end on my corners. I always, like, if a granny square instructions say to do it in the center of the side, I always change it to the corner, because I feel like I have a better result if I finish in the corners instead of mid side. Okay, so Pam, you start and end in the corners. Mary Jo, you start in the corner, and then as it gets bigger, you're in the middle of a row, or in the middle of the side. Lori, you start and end in the corner. And Stephen Alexander, you said you end on the center but have thought about slip stitching to the corner for future projects. And Christy, You think if you use a larger hook size, it makes a looser square that doesn't slant. Okay. Vintage Needle Crafter. Sorry, I got lost. Vintage Needle Crafter, you said, where is your comment? Center, and sometimes you flip the piece going back and forth. Dawn, you like the sides. When I have to slip stitch over to the square, it throws off the symmetry. Front porch sitting, the side, you start in the corner. And Carrot, if you can't center pull, then you roll it into a ball and start mid-side usually for your skeins. Viola, you start and end in the corner. Okay, so a follow-up question. If you start in the corner, if you start and end your squares in the corner, like through the whole square, do you have a problem with twisting? That is a question I want to know, because I start and end in corners and I don't feel like I see any twisting in my squares. But I have seen twisting in my squares if I start and end mid side, like in the center of the side. Yeah, Grandma Wishbone, always look better if you keep it in the corner. That's how I feel for mine, but that's just how I crochet. I know that some people that go in the center have beautiful work as well. It throws me off corners, but you'll try it again. Oh, Flanagan. Hi, Julie. Oh my gosh. You guys, my friend is here. So if you see Flanagan Shenanigans, that is my friend. And she is a wonderful sweetheart. She has a channel on here. She has a husky, if you want to go check out her channel. She has a cute little husky that she posts about if you want to see him. And she's also the one that I sent the husky wolf cardigan to. So she is here. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. Mary Jo, your squares never twist and come out crisp. Okay, that's good. But you're flipping in between rows, right? I guess my question is, if you're starting and ending in the corner, aw, thank you. Love you too. So if you're starting and ending in the corners and you don't flip back and forth, do you guys come up with any twisting? And Viola, you don't have slanting problems when you start in the corner. That's what I found too. Grandma Wishbone, you need to do the tutorial of how to keep working up the corners even if the yarn calls for something else. Ooh, that sounds like a good one. And Christy, you start and end in the corners. You use a half double to join. Oh yes, that is such a good stitch to use for the corners. I always start with a chain 5, and that counts as my first double crochet and chain 2 space. And then when I finish my corner, I'm only doing 2 doubles to finish. Rosemary, you do half double in the corner, and always and you always turn your work. Perfectly squared grannies. Awesome. Stephen Alexander, does the faux stitch work in the corner? I'm not sure what that one is. What are you referring to as far as the faux stitch? I'm not sure about that one. But let me see. I think we are just about done. I think I'm going to do one more row of front post, back post for the cuff, and then we will be done for the day. And Pam, you said you end in the corner and do not turn and it always stays square. That's the same experience I've had too. And I don't know if that's by chance or if it's just the way that I stitch or what it is, but I don't think that they do like a spiral. Thank you, Julie. Crochet master, huh? You're sweet. Okay, Stephen Alexander says faux stitch instead of slip stitching and pulling through. You cut the yarn and then use your needle to make the faux stitch back underneath the loose loops of the next stitch and then go through them. I have done that in the past. And what was your question? Let me see your follow-up question. Oh, Oh goodness. Okay, does the faux stitch work in the corner? So I've never used that stitch in the corner, like doing the faux stitch in the corner. I don't know why it wouldn't work, because like for granny squares, you're kind of like stitching over stitches anyways, or over chains. So I don't know that it would make much of a difference. But that's just by what I'm assuming happens with it. So I haven't done it myself, so I couldn't give you a for sure answer. I'm just assuming. All right, we're on the last row of the cuff, and I'll try it on and then we will be done for today. And Kara, you said your slanting problem is usually just the first 5 or 10 rows. Okay. And then it works its way out after that. Grandma Wishbone, you said the postage is part of half double and chain together. The post stitch? Is that what you mean? Did it autocorrect? Post stitch is part of half double and chain together? Not sure. I'm so sorry. And Dawn, you said, so I do the faux stitch on the sides. Oh, okay. That would work. Then you have that hidden on the side stitches. Mary Jo, you said, I know I do my squares differently than everyone. I think the amazing part about crochet is everybody has different techniques and we all have our own style, and that's so cool. Oh, okay. Not postage, faux stitch. Okay, gotcha. See, autocorrect. Just trying to act like it knows what it's talking about. So silly. All right, last stitches here. 1. And here's the last one. And then I will try it on and we will be done for the day. You guys are troopers. If you think of it and you'd like to hit that like button, that would help a ton before we leave. And I appreciate you guys for being part of today. It was so nice to have you guys here. And we got this done. We got this side all done. I'm so excited. All right, here we go. This is it. Ooh. Love it. So excited. Oh, you guys, it's so pretty. I can't wait for the other side. This is so fun. So there's the cuff. It's nice and loose. I just wanted to like taper it in so it's not such a bell sleeve. And there we go. And Sally, you said, always a fun morning with Sarah and friends. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. And Julie, you said, you too, Sally. Lori, hope everyone has a great day. Mary Jo, love it. Thank you. Julie, you said, reminds me of earthy gemstone colors. Yes, I love it so much. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, I hope you have, what was I going to say? Yeah, I hope you find joy in the little things. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.